I'm Logan Crawford, and right now on the Spotlight Network, we're joined by T J Kerekes. He is the author of a powerful book. It is called I Am Not a Child Molester. This gripping true story explores racial injustice, wrongful accusations, and a broken legal system through the eyes of a single father fighting to reclaim his name. It's a raw, powerful narrative that challenges everything we think we know about guilt, race, and redemption in America. We're delighted to have this very talented author join us here today on Spotlight. We thank the team at Atticus Publishing for helping us put him in the spotlight today. And we ask viewers like you to support authors like him by subscribing to our channel and by purchasing his powerful book. The links are below this interview. And be sure to download the Spotlight Network TV app streaming on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire TV. TJ, thank you so much for joining us here today on Spotlight.
Thank you for having me.
This is a powerful book. It's your true story. It's a compelling story. It's a heartbreaking story. Let's start at the beginning. What happened? You made a mistake. You were conned by someone to think that she was older than she actually was. Let's start from there.
Yes. I mean, I don't think conned is a good word or a good term. She was a young girl who was obviously mature for her age, as does happen sometimes, and she fooled me, and I've had to pay for it my entire life now, and you know, I regret the whole incident. I feel bad about it, but basically, I was just gullible and not conned, fooled. And innocently so, I'm sure on her part, a young girl just wanting attention, and but I was and it happens. But in my case, I feel like I was railroaded by the justice system. They did not like the fact. This is back in the 70s, 79, 89. This was back in 89, and I got married in the 70s to a black woman, a beautiful black woman. And this was Southwest Virginia, and they were the Bible Belt, a little bit behind their times. Progressive here in Blacksburg, but anyway,
Let me
as
ask you
it is
this.
in all of America, it's
Let me ask you
slow
this.
change.
How old was she? How old were you?
Okay, she led me to believe that she was 17 going on 18. She had a birthday coming up in a week. And so that's the only reason I even considered having any kind of relationship with her, or dealing with or talking with the girl, was because she told me she was a senior in high school and turning 18 and getting ready to graduate and moving out of the house and this and that. And I was 32, I believe, and I was in the midst of a devastating breakup with my ex, and I was at home with my children, and my ex was that's you know, I talk about it in the book, the crack cocaine epidemic back then. She got caught up in it, and so I was a lonely guy, hurt, and I guess looking for love, or vulnerable.
Yeah, absolutely vulnerable,
Attention.
going through a
And
bitter
so, yeah.
divorce, and you're told that this person is of age, but she's not. Um, Tell us about the racial component of this. You feel that you were railroaded in part because of racism. Tell us about that.
Yes, I mean, this was a courthouse, and this was uh, small Southwest Virginia, and we had there was lot of drug issues going on in the area, and it seemed like only people getting busted were black people, and so anyway, the courthouse didn't have a good reputation with how they treated black people. And so anyway,
Yeah.
aside from all that, I mean, I was married. I married a woman, and I learned so many things about what she had to deal with and what she was dealing with that I had no clue of. I talk about that in the book, and it opened my eyes. But even after we were married, we had issues from both black and white
Hmm.
that just didn't like the races mixing. So anyway, this prosecutor was just horrible to me. And it was obvious the girl was mature and could have fooled me, but he didn't want to hear anything. And and they railroaded me. I mean, I went in for a hearing to set the date for the jury, grand trial, a trial by jury, and it wasn't up to me to set that date. They had done all this. This was just, I was just, the victim, or not the victim, but I was the defendant, and they told me when to be there and what. So I go in, and we were going to set the date, and I asked for more time to prepare. And they told me, the prosecutor looked at the judge and said, Your Honor, it's been almost a year now, and he's just playing with the system. And I moved that we revoke his bond, hold him in contempt, and revoke his bond, and throw him in jail. And they locked me up right at that point. I had gone in there to for a hearing, and I had kids in the two boys that I was raising. They were in school. They expected me to be there when they got home,
Mm.
and they revoked my bond for asking for more time and threw me in jail. And what was I to do? Only thing I could do to get out was to sign a confession.
Mm.
And this was back before the internet ever
Yeah.
existed. And I'm thinking, well, it's not going to hurt me that bad. I'll sign this confession. I know the truth.
Right.
And uh, if I move to California, nobody's ever going to know.
Right.
But of course, with the internet and the onset of the internet and communication and so now, but I've kept it pretty much to myself over the years. It's not something that I ever wanted to bring up.
Mm.
But of course, it affected me in job hunts, and by the grace of God, I had a couple bosses that didn't care about my past, didn't just knew me and trusted me, and I worked for them for years, and they were good to me. But besides that, I mean, I had headhunters calling me up. We've got this job because I used to do patent research,
Mm.
and I knew computers, and I had opportunities for nice jobs, but they call me up and say, this company wants to talk to you, this and that. Uh, do you have anything that we need to know about, any felony convictions? And what am I going to say? Well,
Right.
I always said no, there's nothing, hoping that they wouldn't run a background or anything. And I'd never hear back,
Yeah.
never hear back. So anyway, and then here at this stage in my life, I'm almost 69 years old now. I'm retired, so it doesn't matter. That's why I'm even coming out, because I wrote the book actually 20 years ago, but I just I didn't I attempted to publish it, but then I stopped because I just didn't want, it affects my family. It did affect my family. It affected everything,
Yeah.
but here I am almost 70 years old, and I do food delivery to make ends meet, and I'm still restricted. I can't take a food delivery to a military base because if you're a convicted felon, you can't get on the military base to do that. So it affects my job today. Even moving, trying to rent a room somewhere,
Mm.
they run a background check, and you're out of luck. So
Awful.
so anyway, for my life, I've been punished for my life for something I didn't even know I was doing.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and
It's incredible. I mean, your life has been derailed by a mistake, something you were fooled by, a system that was unbending to listen to, your reasons, your arguments. Did you have a lawyer? Were you representing yourself?
I never got a chance. I had waived my right to an attorney, honestly, the stupidest thing
Yeah.
that I did, because I was hard-headed, was I said, I'm innocent and I don't need a mouthpiece to tell my side of the story. And
Yeah.
what the judge did, he said, well, I'm going to appoint you an attorney, but he can't say anything. He's muted, uh, but he's there to advise you. And so, the attorney was standing right beside me when they revoked my bond and threw me in jail. And, so he's the one that came to me later and said, well, they're willing to plea. You can get out of jail if you just sign your confession. But I couldn't sit in jail for two weeks, 3 weeks, whatever, until the grand jury met, because I had two boys at home that
Right.
were dependent on me, and only and they would go to their mom, who was out, estranged at the time, bless her heart, she was, and I love her dearly to this day. She's departed now, but she got hooked on that in that epidemic of crack, and it
Mm.
was devastating in so many different ways. And I didn't want my boys going to that.
Yeah. I mean,
So I
you're a
just,
young man. You think you can get out. They're waving freedom in front of your face. You don't realize there's going to be repercussions for the rest of your life because of that signature on a piece of paper. And it is really a heartbreaking story. What do you hope readers take away from your book?
well, number one is I just wanted to have my say. I was denied my say in the whole matter. And it's not always cut and dry. I mean, I'm the same way. When you hear somebody, hey, that guy's a child molester,
Yeah.
you believe it. You tend to, look down upon them. And but my thing is, it's not always so cut and dry. It's not always black and it's not always cut and dry like
Right.
that. And so you have to have an open mind. You got to learn the facts first. I mean, there's states now that are pushing have legislation that makes crimes against children punishable by death.
Yeah.
And it just scares me to think that I could have been up for death, and I didn't even have a clue that I was breaking the law.
Yeah.
This girl was, as I said, she was more mature than my wife at the time was. She was
Right.
just developed and fooled me, and I just innocently. I don't have anything against her. Her cousin was involved at the same time. They made arrangements to stay over at my place while her younger brother, who was on my son's football team, they were staying over too. And I didn't think it odd that the mothers had said, well, the girls are going to stay there too to help with the boys staying over with it was like a sleepover of
Right.
kids on the football team. And had I known she was 13 going on 14,
Mm.
not 17 going on 18, I would have said, you're crazy that these girls are even staying here.
Yeah.
But they arranged it to where, and I knew nothing about it, and until they told me. Maybe she
Amazing.
showed up at the door. I can't even remember, but they arranged it, told each of their mothers that they were staying at their cousins,
Yeah.
and so they know the truth. I would love for them to come forward, but I don't know what difference it would make at this point.
Yeah.
They might not even remember, because when you're young like that, but this anyway.
Yeah.
But no, I don't have anything against them at all.
Yeah.
It was the courts that just ran me through
Yeah.
and for life.
Yeah.
And I just don't think it was right.
Well, it's a compelling story. This book is so powerful, folks. It is called I Am Not a Child Molester. It's a gripping true story that explores racial injustice, wrongful accusations, and a broken legal system through the eyes of a single father fighting to reclaim his name. TJ, it is a heartbreaking story. I wish you all the best in the world. Thank you so much for joining us here today and sharing your story.
Thank you so much for having me, Logan.
It's my pleasure. To the folks at home, I'm Logan Crawford, thanking you for your time this time. Until next time on Spotlight.